On the spot, at the spot.
The spot, SoDo.
With the big homie Nick, we at the spot.
SoDo.
We at the spot, SoDo.
Spot SoDo.
On the spot, at the spot, SoDo, Seattle.
Man, pull out your blunt, grab your drink, get your notepad. Cause it's a lot of game.
I don't remember his name. Shit. But anyway, it's crazy you brought up Nip. Because I remember when Nip bought that shopping center, it was January 2019. 2019 was the year he died, right?
Yeah.
That January, I remember reading in the paper that Nip bought the shopping center. And I know because I used to live right down the street from there. I used to always go to Woody's.
Okay, yeah, well, barbecue.
You know, fat nigga, I'm getting my Woody's down.
Yeah, barbecue.
Man, I be hungry.
Hey, you want some crazy shit? Smuggle.
Oh, yeah?
Mamas.
That's crazy. Yeah, so I was always at that Woody's or the Hungry Harold's across. I didn't go to the Marathon store a lot. You know why I didn't go to the Marathon store a lot? Because it's always police raiding that motherfucker. I just didn't want to be there when that happened. Because I used to have to pass Crenshaw and Slauson sometimes 5-6 times a day. And every few months, you would just see a whole bunch of police cars there. And then they'd be like, they would just be fucking with them. And so that's why I never went. I was like, man, it was just too much. So one, you messing up the man's business because a customer like me who probably would go, I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to go. You know what I mean? Because it's always too much over here. And then you have that combined with when he bought the place. I remember I did a show on my show around the time that right when he bought it. I said, you know what? This back of my show was only on Facebook. I said, I'm scared for Nipsey when he bought it because I know how my city works. I know when my city wants to make a big move in an area, they're going, and when it comes to us, they're going to take us out. Because I remember I used to, when I was in college, I was the business banking manager for Washington Mutual.
Okay.
That was my job when I was 20. I did the business in downtown Inglewood.
Okay,
Manchester and Locust.
Yeah.
So all the businesses in Inglewood, I had somewhat of a hand on it. And I got to see how, damn, for me to have all these black businesses, 80% black businesses here, we never approved one single loan for a black business. And I noticed that. Like, I never had one loan in 3 years approved for any of the black businesses in the neighborhood. They always got declined for some reason.
Real talk.
For some reason.
For some reason. One of my neighbors, he's owned like a bunch of Denny's and Wendy's and stuff like that. When they built that new shopping center on Century in between Prairie and Crenshaw,
yeah, UCLA.
Yeah,
bum ass motherfuckers.
Yeah, they built that. They built that shopping center, and they were like, they had no black businesses in any of these places. He had to sue to get his Wendy's place in there, and I saw how hard he had to work. My uncle was an eye doctor, and I'm gonna come around to get to the point. My uncle was an eye doctor, had been trying to get an eyeglass business in there from like the late '80s to the mid '90s. He had to go build his practice out in Azusa, out in Pomona. Because they wouldn't let because he's a black man, he couldn't open up an eye clinic. It wasn't until the riots and Operation Rebuild LA they allowed him to finally open up an eye clinic. And he died right before it opened in 1996. But they fought him to open up an eye clinic. And then I look at, so I know how LA is then right before Nipsey got killed, the dude who owns that shopping center on the Ralphs over there on Crenshaw and Slauson,
yeah,
I saw that they were selling that whole lot for like $29 million. I'm like, ain't no way in hell no one with half a brain would sell that for $29 million, knowing it's going to be worth $300 million in about 5 years when the Olympics come, unless he's getting forced to. So I'm seeing all these moves get made around. I'm seeing what's happening all up and down Crenshaw. Another radio show that I used to do, we interviewed the brother who owned Winston Mortuary.
Okay, yeah.
And he came in and he was talking about how they shut things off to where the things that they were doing, the small things that they were doing to get those black businesses to get closed on Crenshaw. And this is all going around time Nipsey buys that Marathon store. And I'm like, you know what? This ain't safe. Because they've been trying to push him out. Now he buys it. And they just made Bakewell sell right across the street. I'm like, man, I just didn't feel right. And 2 months later, yak, it happens. And then so I get to talking, and I immediately was like, nah, this LA, I know, allegedly,
real talk,
I know these people got something to do with it because there's just too many things going on at once. You know what I mean? You got this little dude that's always getting caught up Why did these dusty ones are always the ones that always find a way to get back out.
Come on.
You know what I mean? So and so you have all these things going on, and people's like, "Nah, Dwann, that's conspiracy. That's conspiracy." I dare y'all right now, go to an article it was in the Guardian. I don't remember the name, the titles and shit, but I'm giving y'all the place to go.
Info, yeah.
The Guardian, the paper, did a whole write up. I think it was in December last year or like last fall, talking about how the LAPD had a whole task force specifically focused on Nipsey since like 2015. They admitted that shit.
Let me tell you some crazy shit.